Everyone, we're going to be doing the midterm review. I'm going to be going right in order, so go to the problem that you want to see. If you're confused on what to do, make sure you try the problems first, and then watch the video. All right, we're going to first start with number one. We're going to sketch the graph of the line. I wrote down here the slope-intercept form already, and for me, I always like to start with the y-intercept, the b, because that is the beginning, right? B for beginning. So if you notice right here, it's the number that's by itself, it's plus B. Here we have this minus B. That is our y-intercept. So we're going to go on the y-axis, point at -2. Then I'm going to use green for the slope. If you notice right here that the number in front of x, that's m. So we're going to go in front of x, this guy right here. It's a negative slope, so it's going to be like this. It's going to go down. Okay. And so let's try this out. So the top number is the up and down part, the rise, and the bottom number is the run. So we're going to go from the point, remember the blue point, the y-intercept. We're going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to the left. The reason why we go to the left is because we want that to be negative. So negative slope. So we're going to go to the left 5, and there's our point. The slope is how we get the other points. Okay. Y-intercept is how we get the first point. Slope is how we get the other points. That's just only one other point. I always like to do at least 3 just so that I know I'm doing this right. So I don't have any more room going to the left, so I'm going to go to the right of the blue point. So I'm going to do the exact opposite, right? So instead of going up 3, left 5, I'm going to go down 3, right 5. So it ends up right there. You can see that we make this nice little line right there. And just draw that line. Use a straight edge, that would be better. Oh my goodness. That did not look good. Let me see if I can pull this up a little bit. No. Maybe I can draw a better line. Let's try this out. Okay. And we're going to just draw that slightly better. Okay, use a straight edge or a ruler to help you draw that straight line. Right, and you see it's a negative slope and it intersects right there at -2. All right, going on to the next one. We're going to go blue first, blue for B. So again, our B is -4. It's the one that does not have the x attached to it. We're going to go on the y-axis, -4. And then we're going to go do the slope, which is 3/2. That part is 3, so we're rising. We're going to go up 3, and then since it's positive, we're going to go to the right, because that is going to give us that positive slope. The increasing, right? Positive is increasing. So I'm going to do this again. 3, up 3, and then to the right 2. Up 3 to the right 2. So this, we're going the same pattern every time, like stairs, right? I would go on the other side, but there's no room. We don't have negative. We can't go down 3. So we're just going to leave it like that and just draw our line again. Just like that. Make sure you put arrows at the end so you can show that, yes, this line goes on forever now. All right, on to number 3. And we're going to do our y-intercept, so +5, and go up on the y-axis. Some people go on the x. That would be wrong because this is the y-intercept, not the x-intercept. And then, okay, notice right here, we only have one number. Above, we had 2 numbers. We had like a fraction, right? Here we don't. So what we're going to do for 3 is we're going to make it into a fraction. So 3 is just it's just 3, right? So what can we divide 3 by to keep the 3? The only thing you can divide by is 1. So 3 divided by 1 is still 3. So we're not changing the value. We're just changing the way it looks. So now it's a fraction. And then we could do our rise or run. So we can't rise. So normally we go up 3 into the right one. So we're going to do the exact opposite of that. So we're going to go down 3 and then to the left 1. The reason why we go to the left is so that we can get that positive slope that's increasing. Again, down 3, to the left 1. A lot of people don't count this dark line, the x-axis, but it does count as a space. You're just counting the spaces, right? So you go down 3 to the left 1, down 3 to the left 1, and we have no more room. Continue that. And again, draw a line. That's already on to number 4. Again, so here our y-intercept is -4, so we're going to go -4 on the y-axis. And then here our slope is actually quite large. The top number is pretty big. We don't have usually the number this big, but it is a negative slope, so we know it's going to be this way. So let's go. We're going to go up 9. So that was 4, and then up 5, so it's 9 altogether. Then we're going to go to the left 5. Lost 9. Lost it. All right, so we're going to go up 9 and then to the left 5. There you go. We normally I would like to do a few more, but that's all we got room for. We're just going to have to be okay with, oh my, that as it go through both points. So make sure you're using a straight edge. It's hard for me to do that on this computer, but that's fine. Make sure you're using the straight edge. Okay. Okay, now you notice it looks a little different. Number 5. This is a point slope form. So let's see if I can get to slope form. Okay. So notice unlike the other equation, this one has a y -5. Then we have some parentheses here. So again, our slope is located in the same place. It is located in front of the x, right outside of the parentheses. Our x coordinate is going to be next to the x, and our y coordinate is next to the y. Okay, the stuff in red is what you will normally see. So this y is this red y right here. Okay, so first we need a point. So that's the purple one. I'm going to just use purple. Oops. What let me do it? Let's see. Oh, it's thinking right now. Okay, so while we're waiting for it to figure itself out. So the x coordinate is going to be over here next to the x. That's a 7, right? If you notice right here, this is a minus, x minus, and so this is an x plus. So the only way that we could have, I don't want it. Why is it trying to sync right now? Okay. I don't know how to, if it is. Let's see here. I am going to, all right, sorry about that. We should be better now. And there we go. And so again, we're looking for a point. So x1, so this normally is x minus, that's what it should be. And the only way this became a plus is if this was a -7. Minus a negative would be a plus, would be x plus 7. So that is our x coordinate, it's -7. All right. And then our y is going to be, it's already a y minus, so we're just going to take that 5. That's our y coordinate. This is the point. So we're going to go -7 to the left, and then we're going to go up 5. So this is the point we start with. So instead of using the y-intercept, we're using this point. That's why this is called the point slope form. We got a point, we got a slope. So now we're going to use our slope to find the rest of the points. And so the number in front of x is 2. So remember, this is not a fraction. We got to make it into a fraction. So 2/1. We're going to go up 2 into the right one. Can't go anymore, so we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Do the exact opposite, down 2 into the left 1. So we have room for. We're going to just draw our line. If you zoom out, this line is longer and longer, right? That's where we're showing the arrows. Again, let's try this for number 6. I'm going to find the point. So x minus, so we're just going to take this one right here. That's our x coordinate. This is a y plus, right? So it's supposed to be y minus. The only way it became a plus is if this y coordinate was a -4, right? So that's going to be, I always like to think of it as it's the opposite of what I'm seeing. So if it's this x -1, so then my x coordinate is +1. This is y +4, so my y coordinate is -4. Okay, so I'm going to go plot this. So it's 1 to the right and then 4 down. That is going to be my point that I'm using. And then I'm going to use a slope, which is a negative slope, -4/3 to be exact. I'm going to go up 4, and now to make it negative, I got to go to the left. Right? Up 4, over to the left. Up 4, 3 to the left. And do one on this right-hand side. So down 4, and then 3 to the right. Right, so now this helps me make a nice straight line. Straightish line. Got our arrows out. Perfect. Done. All right, already on to number 7. Okay, so we're going to use find our point again. So our x, remember this is a +4, so our x coordinate is -4. Our y coordinate is +2. Oh, this is +2. So our y coordinate would be -2. So we have -4 minus -2. That's going to be the point. Now, again, we're going to use the slope, which is -1/3. Negative, so we know it's going to go this way. So we're going to go up 1 and then 3 to the left. Or we can go down 1 from the purple point and go 3 to the right. So this point slope form is really good to use if we don't really have a nice, easy, like y-intercept, which, as you can see here, we're not going to have a nice y-intercept. It's a little less than -3, but there's some change in there. Right? So, oh my dear. That's really good. I'm over that. I can do it. Okay, you know what I mean. It goes through all the whole line, the whole point, all the points. This is just really bad. Won't forget my arrows, though. I can at least do that. All right. Do as I say, not as I do, apparently. And here we go. We're gonna do this one last time. Again, x is, and okay, again, if you've just been copying me, that is not helping your brain. So like pause this, do it yourself. Try and see how far you can get, right? And then you try, then you press play and see if it's what I got. All right, again, our x coordinate is gonna be, this is x -4, so this is gonna be +4. This is y -2, so this is gonna be +2. We're going to go over to the right 4, up 2. There's the point. And our slope is going to be 3. We're going to make that into a fraction, so it's 3 over 1. From the purple point, we're going to go up 3, right 1, up 3, right 1. Or down 3, left 1. Down 3, left 1, down 3, left 1. Oh, look at that one. That's a pretty good one. I say so myself. All right, there we go. That's going to be the graph. All right, now we're moving on to write the slope-intercept form of the equation of the line. So remember y equals mx plus b. Then slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Right, so let's find out these things. So we know our b is blue. And so our b is going to be our y-intercepts. We're going to look on the y-axis. Where does the line cross? Right here at 4. So that's our b, so which equals 4. All right, and then we just need to find our m. Our m is going to be, we need 2 points to find the slope. So I'm going to just go the next point right after the, I'm just going to use the y-intercept because that's a point. And I'm just going to use that, and then the next point here. So I'm going to go rise. How much are we rising? We're rising 3. Then we're going to the left 1. So that's -1. Or slope is equal to 3 over -1. Well, what's 3 divided by -1? Because that's what this line means, divide by, and it's just -3. In this case, it simplifies down to just a number. That's okay. It's not always going to be like that. Sometimes we'll get slopes that are like this, like 1 over 3, or like 4 over, why are they all over 3? Are they all like that? Oh no, like 9 over 5, right? So if you cannot simplify, you just leave it as in that form. You leave it as a fraction. And then let's plug this all in. Y equals our m, which is -3. What's after that? X plus our b, which is 4. That's it. Done. It's just, do you know how to read a graph? Okay. And I'm just double checking here. My slope is negative, and yes, this is a negative slope, and my y-intercept is at +4. It's good to go. Okay, we're going to try this one more time. We're going to look for our y-intercept first. So it crosses right here at -5. And then so I know my b is equal to -5. And then my slope is going to be positive. So I'm going to look at the next one over. So it's right over here. So I'm going to go up 1 and to the right. So up 1 to the right 2. That's a positive slope. So m is equal to 1 over 2. You can't simplify 1 over 2. It's just 1 over 2. So here we go. Let's write this out. Let's do it in this color. Y equals m. M is 1/2. What's after that? X. And then this time is, since it's negative, we're going to just write minus b. If you write plus -5, that's fine too. But we normally say -5. Right? There's your answer. Well, we wrote down the slope-intercept form of the equation of the line. And now we want to write in point slope form. All right, so this one, a lot of different choices because there are a lot of different points on here. It doesn't matter which point you use. There's like no wrong answer unless you're picking like a point that's not on the line, which is, because it's not relevant, right? So you gotta pick a point on the line. So that's what we're gonna do here. So I'm gonna pick, let's pick this point right here. Okay, and if you look at the answers on the back, you'll find that there are a lot of different options. As long as yours is one of those options, good to go. All right, so we're gonna pick the point here, 6, 2. Okay, and so what we're gonna do is, we'll write it y. Oh, we just found the point. We need the slope, right? So here we're gonna find the slope. Find another point like right here. There we go. The reason why I want to do it kind of close is if we do it further away, we're going to have to like simplify the fraction because you're not going to get the most simplified form of that fraction. So again, we're going to go rise 2. We're going to go to the run. We're going to the right 3. Okay. So our slope is equal to 2 over 3. All right. So again, we're going to write this out. So y minus, I thought I changed the color. So y minus our y1, which is the y coordinate, that's 2, equals m, which is 1/2, times x minus x1, which is the x coordinate, 6. All right, there we go. So, all right, we're going to go on to number 12. Let's try this one more time. So again, we got to find a point. So find a point anywhere on here. And I'm going to choose this point right here. I'm not going to be able to color coordinate this because for some reason my numbers, I can't change colors, but I'm sure you understand. This point is 1 and y is -3. And our slope looks like this is our next point there. So I'm actually going up 4 and going to the left, -1. So my slope is 4 over -1, which is just -4. In this case, it's just going to be -1. Do you see how like all these, like just if it's a 1 on the bottom, it just simplifies to just an integer. All right, so now let's try this out. Y minus the y coordinate, which is -3. So again, this can be -3. Notice what I did? It was positive. All right, equals the slope, which is -4, times x minus, well, what's the y coordinate? X coordinate. That's going to be 1. There we go, just like that. There are, if you chose a different point, then it's going to look a little different. Again, check the answers on the back so you can, see if you did it right or not. All right, moving on. We got domain and range. So start with the first one. Domain and range, the domain. So I'm going to just write domain here. Domain is talking about the x values. So we're going to see how far left and how far right it goes, right? So this way. So it goes all the way to 2 and all the way to 6. So from 2 to 6, that's where all the x values are, right? So we're going to write this as an inequality, like a compound inequality, because it could be anything between like 2.1, 2.2, because it's continuous, anything in here, instead of having to list all that out because it's impossible. we're going to write it like this. So we're going to go from 2. 2 is less than. Could it be 2? Yes, because it's a closed circle, closed dot, closed point. So we got that equal sign right there. Again, if we have an inequality and then we have an equal sign and we put them together, it just goes like this. So this is these two bottom fingers is the equal sign, and the top two fingers is the inequality. So this one gets used twice, right? Equals, inequality. Okay, anyways, 2 is less, 2 is less than or equal to x, and we're using x because we're talking about the domain, right? 2 is less than or equal to x, which is less than what number? 6. Notice I did not put the equal to sign because that is an open circle. Open circle is like a hole, cannot actually be that. It could be 5.99999, but it just can't be 6. Okay, so anything up to 6 they can be. All right, then we're going to do the domain. I mean the range, I should say. So here's the range. And we're going to go, so how low it goes. So we're going to go from 3 all the way up to 5. So 3 is less than or equal to y. So again, it's y this time because we're talking about the range. And it's equal to because it is a closed circle. And all the way up to 5, that one will be an open circle. So that is just less than. All right, done. And we'll try that one more time. That was the red I used. And again, we're going to use the domain now. So domain. Remember, we're talking about the x values. So it goes all the way from 1 to 5. So 1 is less than x, which is less than or equal to 5. Well, it's just less than because it's an open circle there. And 5 because that's a closed circle. And anything in between. That's what the inequalities are for. And then let's go with range. So how low can it be? A lot of people are going to mistake and say 5. Number 5 is talking about the x values, right? We're going as low as, what is this? 0 for the y, all the way up to 3. From 0 to 3, okay? So 0, it can't equal 0 because it has that close circle there. Y, and then just less than. I almost made the mistake of doing equal to. That is an open circle at 3. So it cannot be 3, but it can be very close to 3, right under it. All right, again, pause, try it yourself. So now we're going to go into all 4 quadrants here. So, just start with a range. That's silly. Okay, let's start with domain. I mean, you could start with range, but my red color was for the domain, so that's what we're going with. We're going all the way from -4 to +3. And notice they're both open circles on both sides. So it's going to be -4 is less than x, which is less than 3. That's it. Oop, that's not what I wanted. And then we're going to go range. And a range is how low it goes. So it's as low as -1. And notice that both sides is open circle, which means that it's not going to equal to. Even if one of them is a closed circle, then it can't equal to, because at least on one side it can equal to it. So -1 is less than y, which is less than or equal to, it goes all the way up to, right here, just 2. And our last domain and range problem, so domain, again, talking about the x, go all the way from 0 to 4, all right? So 0 is open circle on both sides, so 0 is less than x, which is less than 4. And our y is going to be, our range is going to be all the way from -6 to 7. Notice there's no open circle there. You can't really see a point there, but it does, if it's just that continuous line on there, that just means there is a point there. It's just not explicitly shown. So it's going to go from -6 is less than y, which is less than or equal to 7. Okay, that's a 7. All right, now we're going to go on to the next one. We're approaching the middle of this packet. And so we're going to find the slope given 2 points. Okay, slope Remember the slope formula is going to be m is equal to rise, was the difference of the y's, so y2 minus y1 over the run, which is x2 minus x1. Okay, now remember we're talking about this is one point right here, and this right here is another point. Okay, so you may wonder, well, which one is which? It honestly doesn't matter, but I'm going to just say since this is the first point, I'm going to call that x1, y1. Since this is the second point, I'm going to call that x2, y2. All right, so I'm going to just label that here. So x1, y1. Remember, the x's don't go together. It's not like, oh, this is x1, x2. Okay, it's always x and y. Just like our coordinates are always x coordinate, y coordinate, same thing. Again, this is x2, y2. So this is 0.1, the blue is 0.1, and the orange is 0.2, right? It's 0.2 because it says 2. All right, so now we're going to just plug everything in. So our y2 is 15. I'm going to subtract it from y1, which is 20. So 15 minus 20 over, well, this is x2 minus x1. So x2, 40 minus 37. So 40 minus 37. And let's see what we get. So we got 15 minus 20, which is going to be negative 5. And 40 minus 37, which is going to be 3. It does not go in evenly, so we're just going to leave it just like that. They have no common, 5 and 3 have no common factors, so it is the most simplified version of the slope. Okay, here we go, done. Found the slope. We're going to do that again here. So we got our y2 is over here, so m is equal to y2 minus y1, so it's going to be 18 minus negative 4 over x2 minus x1, so 12 minus 10. So minus negative, same thing as a plus, so 18 plus 4 is going to be 22 over 12 minus 10, which is 2. Want to simplify it? Yes. I already put an equal sign. So 22 divided by 2, that's 11. Yay. If you don't know, if you're like, oh, I'm not good with multiplying or dividing, then check on your calculator just to see if it simplifies down. Okay, so that's going to be our slope. I should technically say, to be nice, m is equal to 11. Done. All right, now we're going to just step it up a little bit more. Now we're going to write the equation of the line that goes through the given point. So now we got 2 points, and right now I notice, remember we need 2 things. We need the slope and the y-intercept. Technically we could do this in point slope form, but I do notice I do have a y-intercept, so I'm going to just use that. So this is our b, okay, our y-intercept. But first we need the slope. So let's try that out. M is equal to y2 minus y1, so it's going to be 19 minus 14 over x2 minus x1, 8 minus 0. All right, and then 19 minus 14 is going to be 5 over 8 minus 0 is 8. 5 over 8, that's our slope. So now we can write the equation. Y equals, remember it says write the equation. What is our m? 5/8. Comes after that, our x. And then our b, because remember that's if the x coordinate is 0, then you're going to stay right at the middle on the y-axis and you're going to go up 14. Right, so that's going to be our y-intercept. Just like that. There's our equation. All right, we're going to do the same thing here. Ooh, I notice here. Do you see what I see? This is our b right here. Okay, so we have the y-intercept. So we know it's going to be something, something. Y equals something, something here, and then x minus 5. We just need to figure out what that slope is, right? We don't know, like, is it positive slope, negative slope, how tilted is it? We don't know that information, so we're going to find that out. So again, find the slope diagonally. Y2 minus y1, so negative 5 minus 13 over 0 minus negative 3. 0 minus negative 3. Remember, the minus has nothing to do with that negative. Okay, so they don't just like, all right, so negative 5 minus 13 is going to be negative 18 over 0 minus a negative, so that's plus 0 plus 3 is going to be 3. And yes, 3 does go into negative 18, so it's going to be negative 6. Our slope is just negative 6. Now, so far I've been always doing the second point with the first point. Technically, you can do it the other way too, as long as you're just going in the same direction. So just for example, if I did 13 minus -5, so 13 minus a -5 over -3 minus 0, you can kind of use this to your advantage, depending on which way you want to subtract. Notice we're still originating from the same point both times, right? We just made everything backwards. And that's fine. So 13 minus -5 minus negative, same thing as a plus. So that's going to be still 18. Now it's going to be positive 18. You see, -3 minus 0 is going to be -3. Notice that now the 3 is now negative instead of positive. So 18 divided by -3 is still going to give you the same answer of negative. Right? But again, you have to start from the same point both times. All right, moving on. Now we're going to evaluate the function. We're like exactly at the halfway point, guys. Good job. Okay, so here we go. So the p of x is equal to -2x minus 1. We want to find the value of a very specific x, in this case, -10. So notice instead of p of x, we got p of -10. So we're going to substitute -10 in for x. So we want to know what is the answer if we do that, right? Let's do a, for example, right? So p of -10 is equal to this whole thing, except when we get to x, what are we trying to see what it would be? -10. So we're going to put a -10 in for x. And then don't forget your -1. Now we're just going to do order of operations. Whenever you evaluate here, you should see all numbers, right? You should not see an x in there. So -2, remember if it's a parenthesis like this, there's no other operation, it means multiply. -2 times -10 is going to be +20 minus 1. That's going to be 20 minus 1, which is 19. Done. All right, and we're going to do this. Let's do the same thing. Oh, something that I do want to notice. So here, you see how this is the same? And that's the same. These all should be the same number. They're not, you're doing something wrong. All right, so h of x. So we want to find h of -2. So here's h of -2 is equal to 3. When we get to x, we're going to plug in -2 plus 1. 3 times -2 is -6 plus 1. -6 plus 1 is going to be -5. Yay! All right. And remember, I do need to see your work. I need to see you plug them in, because if you don't, then I don't know how you got it. Maybe you just like the number -5. Who knows, right? So here we're going to look for g of 7. So again, we're copying everything down except when we get to x, we're going to plug in 7. -5. Don't forget that -5. So 3 times 7 is 21 minus 5. So 21 minus 5 is going to be 16. Woohoo! Last problem. So f of -4. What is that going to be? Oh, notice we don't have a number here. So that's why we just start with x. So x we know is -4. Since I'm not multiplying with anything, I can just leave it like that. You don't really need like parentheses around it. -3. What's -4 minus 3? -7. This one was a lot simpler because you just needed to subtract. That was it. These other ones, you had to multiply first and then you had to subtract. All right, now on to explicit formula. Now, you may have not done this in a while, but the explicit formula, there's 2 different kinds. We have the arithmetic kind. So arithmetic, it means that we're adding. So whenever we're adding or subtracting, that we know we're in the world of arithmetic. Okay? And so the formula goes like this: an, so n means any term, right? So an is equal to a1, which means the first term, plus the common difference times n minus 1. So what we're going to change is these highlighted ones. So I'm going to make green. A1 is the first term, and plus d is how much we keep on adding by or subtracting by. So let's see if we can find the first term. Notice this sequence? That's the first term. You know why? This is the first one there. So we got our first term, and now we need to know, well, how much are we going by? So if you go from -3 to +3, we're actually adding 6. 3 to 9, we're adding 6. 9 to 15, we're again adding 6. right? So we add every single time. So our common difference is 6. Okay, so now we're just going to replace all the things that are highlighted. Anything that is not highlighted over here, we copy it down. So we have an, this is not highlighted, is equal to a1, which is -3. Notice I don't have the a in there anymore. We have -3 written in the regular size. Where our plus d is our common difference is going to be +6. We're adding 6 every time, starting with -3. Times that by the previous term. Okay. We did derive this, but I'm not going to go and explain why the equation or the formula is this way. We just have to remember from our class. All right, that's it. That's the explicit formula. We can use this to find whichever term we want without having to keep on like +6, +6, +6, +6, right? That's too much. All right, so again, here we're going to look for our first term. We're like, oh, 9, done. And then what are we going? Oh, notice we're going down. So we are 9 minus 2, so that's 7. So we're going down by 7 every time, right? Going down by 7. If you don't know how to figure that out, what you can do is you can just go, well, for me, I just go 9 minus 2, right? And that's going to be 7. And I know it's going to be -7 because if I look at it, I'm going down, right? If it was +7, I would be going up, but I'm getting smaller and smaller, more and more negative, right? So I know that's going to be a -7. This is just to find the difference, right? All right, you could have done the same thing here, 9 minus 3, and that would be 6. But I know I'm going to be adding 6 every time because I notice that the numbers are getting bigger. All right, so now I found the common difference. We're good to go. Let's write it down. So an is equal to a1, which is 9 in this case. We're going down 7, so we're going to go -7 times n minus 1. That's it. All right, now these two are different because we're no longer adding. If you notice, these numbers don't go up by the same amount. And you notice that these numbers get big really fast, right? Started off at 3, and all of a sudden 4 terms later, we're at 375. We know we're definitely multiplying here, okay? So in this case, multiplying would mean that we're in the world of geometric. I was going to say geometry, but it's not geometry, it's geometric. Okay, so geometric means you're multiplying. So the explicit formula for that is going to be Gn is equal to G1, again, which means the first term. We're going to multiply by the R, which is the common ratio. So it's what we're multiplying by, to the n minus 1 power. Okay, that's an exponent. All right, notice this one is small, and for arithmetic, it is regular sized. Okay, only with geometric is it small, like it is an exponent. All right, I'm going to still make the first term green, and our common ratio is orange. All right, so let's write this out, or let's find our first term, I guess. So we know it's 3. And then how much am I multiplying by? 3 times what will give me 15? It has to be times 5, right? 15 times 5 is 75. 75 times 5 is 375. So I know that my common ratio is going to be 5. So let's write this out. Gn is equal to G1, which is our 3, times, I usually like to put parentheses instead of the dot, just because if we're multiplying by negatives, it's much easier to remember. So times R, which is 5. We're quintupling every time, right? Multiplying by 5 every time. And then to the n minus 1. That's it. Very easy. Okay, so here we have, now we notice we're getting bigger, we're getting smaller really fast, right? So one way to figure this, well, if you notice right here, 24, this is going to be like divided by 6, right? So we can't actually like do divide. We always have to be multiplying because see, it's always multiplying. So we're going to say it's actually just 1/6. Okay, that's what we're multiplying by. So whenever we're dividing by a number, we're going to be multiplying by the fraction of it, right? And if you're like, how am I going to remember that? What you can just do is I like to take like some of the smaller numbers, do one of the numbers and divide it by the previous number, okay? And then 4 divided by 24, that's going to give you 1/6, okay? Same thing with here. If you do, like, let's say 15, this is what R is equal to. 15 divided by the previous number, which is 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5. All right. So we have, okay, we got that. So our first term is right here, 864, and then this is our common ratio. When we write this, we're going to be like Gn is equal to the first term, what we're starting with. We're starting with 864. We're going to multiply by 1/6 every time, right? So we're basically dividing by 6, but we show it as a fraction to the n minus 1 power. Now we're going to use these explicit formulas to actually figure out some terms. So what if we wanted the 34th term? How do we know it's 34? Because it says that little 34. N means the term, right? So we're going to go with 34. So I'm going to just plug, just like how we did with evaluating functions, right? This is the same idea. So A34 is equal to, copy everything down, except when we get to N, we're going to plug in 34. So negative 29 plus 8 times 34 minus 1. Now, again, we're going to do order of operations. So I have parentheses here first, so I'm going to do that. So negative 29 plus 8 is times 33. All right, and then I'm going to multiply next. So equals negative 29. It's going to be plus 24, 24, 22, 64. All right, and to negative 29 plus 264 is going to give me 2, I think, 235. I'm pretty sure that's 235. You can go and check in the answer, see if it actually is 235. Okay, maybe I should check. Wait, that was number 29. Oh, look, we're almost done. Look in the back. So 29. Look, see, 235. Told you. All right. All right. Let's hear. Here we're looking for the 27th term. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to go A27 is equal to, copy everything down until you get to N and replace that with 27 minus 1. All right, so that's going to be 3 minus 7 times 27 minus 1 is 26. All right, and 3 minus, this is going to be 742. 14 plus 4 is 18. So 3 minus 182. So that's going to be negative 179. That negative 179 is going to be the 27th term. So if you're going to keep on subtracting 7, you start with 3. On the 27th one, the number is going to be negative 179. See, saved so much work. All right, this one right here. This is now, we're in the world of geometric. And notice we're looking for the 12th term. Since these get big so fast, we don't use we don't want to find like very big number terms. So here it goes. We're going to go G12 is equal to 4 times 2 to the 12 minus 1, which is basically 4 times 2 to the 11. Do not make the mistake of multiplying first, because what comes first? The exponent. You're going to do 2 to the 11th power and then multiply it by 4. So we're going to get ready for a really big number. I'm not going to be able to do that in my head. So we're going to go with, when you go 2 to the 11th power, you're looking for, on your calculator, you're going to look for a caret, the one that looks like an upside down V, or you're going to have x to the y power. I will show you in just a bit. And then we're going to multiply that by 4. So you're going to get, 8,192. Again, you're going to look for this button on your calculator. We call that a caret, or it's going to be x to the y. Either one of those buttons on your calculator. Okay, and that'll give you that exponent. Okay, so you can just put this whole thing in your calculator. So go 4 times, or 4 parentheses, 2, and then to the 11th power. And then you'll get 8192. All right. Again, here we're going to find the 12th term. We're going to plug in n as 12 minus 1. So this is going to be 2 times negative 3 to the 11th power. Okay, again, to the 11th power. So 2, and this one you really need to put in the parentheses. If you don't, you have a chance of getting it wrong. Okay. Because sometimes it'll be right and sometimes it'll be wrong. So if you always want to be right, put in the parentheses, to the 11th power. And you see what I got? Can you see what I see? All right, so that's going to be negative 354,294. It's a very big number. That's what the 12th term will be. A very big number. All right, now we're at the last tail end, guys. Good job. Good job for coming this far. We're going to now solve each equation algebraically. Some of you guys can do this in your heads. Like you can try and figure out, well, what number, if I multiply by 16 and add 2, would give me 34. And that's great. But we're getting ready for Algebra 2 and on, right? So you need to actually learn how to do these algebraically so that you can solve more complex problems, okay? So in here, we're going to remember the order of operations. We always started with like multiply and then we added. When we're solving for v, right, or for our variable, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to undo this, right? So we're going to start with the last thing. The last thing was we would normally add the 2, right, at the end. But now we're going to get rid of it. How do we get rid of it? We're going to undo it. How do we undo adding? By subtracting. We're going to subtract 2 on both sides. Why do we don't? When I say sides, I mean both sides of the equal sign, right? Some people like to put a line like this to show sides, right? You got the left side of the equal sign, the right side of the equal sign. That's why to keep it equal, you can't just take 2 away from one side. You got to take 2 away from the other side to keep it equal. All right, so then we're going to get 16b. This just becomes 0, so we don't need to write that in there. And 34 minus 2 is 30. Next step, which is the last step, we got to get rid of the 16. Remember 16 times v. We're going to undo that by dividing it. We're going to divide 16 on both sides, and we get v is equal to 2. Because 32 divided by 16 is 2. Done. All right, notice right here, my variable's on the right-hand side, and I notice that I both of them have ends in them, right? Here we didn't have that, right? This one had a v, the other one was just a number, right? Here, both of them have ends, which mean they're like terms. So we're going to combine like terms first. So we're going to go 39 is equal to 9n plus 4n, which is going to be 13n. And then it just becomes like a one-step equation. We're going to just, how do we get rid of 13? Divide by 13, divide by 13, and we get n equals to 3. I normally like to write my variables on the left, so, I mean, I know it's just going to, because 3 is equal to n is the same thing as n equal to 3. So I'm just going to leave it like that. All right, moving on to 35. So here, again, over here on the right-hand side, I notice we have some like terms, so I'm going to combine those first. It makes life a little easier. So 34 is equal to 8n. And then if we have minus 12 plus 14, we actually end up with plus 2. I think of this like a negative, right? So negative 12 plus 14 is going to be a positive 2. Now, it always ends up like this, right? And then we're going to now, this is a 2-step equation because it's going to take us 2 steps to finish this, right? Even in algebra 2, you'll be doing stuff like this, right? So again, we're going to get rid of the plus. We're going to subtract 2 on both sides. Cancels out, and we get 34, or 34 minus 2, which is 32, is equal to 8n. So we know 8 times a number is equal to 32. Some of you guys will like, well, that's 4, because 8 times 4 is 32. Algebraically, this is how we show it. We just divide both sides by 8, since it was multiplied. And then your answer is going to be n is equal to 32 divided by 8, which is 4. Like I said. All right, same thing here on the 36. I notice that I have some like terms. I got 10x minus 12x, which is going to give me a negative 2x. And then I have this minus 6 equals this minus 6 over here. What do? Get rid of this minus 6. Opposite of subtracting 6, adding 6. Cancels out. Ooh, but this cancels out too. So what does that mean? A lot of people get stuck right here. So again, negative 2x is equal to, well, what's negative 6 minus, plus 6? Oop, I was going to write 6. Bad. 0. Here we actually have to write 0. Notice here we didn't have to, because negative 2x plus 0 is just negative 2x. So it just simplifies down to negative 2x. So no need to like write it down. But here we don't have anything else left. So we actually do have to write the 0 there. And then what do? Still the same thing. Got to get rid of this negative 2. If you think about it, what is negative 2 times what? Will give you a 0. Think about it. Maybe you already know. So x is going to have to equal 0 divided by negative 2, which is just 0. And some people are like, what, is that an answer? I'm like, yes, it's the answer. The only way this is going to work, the only way this equation works is if x is equal to 0. It's the only way. And x0 is a number. All right. Again, I see some common like terms. So we're going to copy everything else that we're not using. So you know what I do like to do, though? I do like to write my variables first. Right, so negative 8m minus 7m is going to give me negative 15m. Right, and then I have this. This is a positive 15, so I'm going to write plus 15. All right. So now I'm going to, you see what I'm saying? It's a two-step equation again. Minus 15 on both sides. And then we get negative 30 minus 15. So we're getting more negative, right? It's going to be negative 45 is equal to, cancels out, just negative 15m. And then last part, divide by negative 15. Since negative 15 is multiplying with m. And we get m is equal to negative 45 divided by negative 15 is a positive 3. Okay, let's go. Ooh, look. We got n here and n here, which means they are like terms. So we know that negative 5n minus 13n, we're getting more negative. It's going to be negative 18n is equal to negative 36. We're going to divide both sides by whatever's next to the n. It's going to be negative 18. Negative 18. And we get n is equal to negative 36 divided by negative 18 is going to be positive 2. Guys, we're almost there. We have 4 more problems. All right, let's go. So 39. Now we have parentheses. There are 2 ways to get rid of them. But the first way sometimes just makes it more complicated because then you end up with fractions. You only really want to use it if you know that this first number in front outside of the parentheses, the thing you want to distribute, goes into the other side. So the 98. If it doesn't, I really wouldn't use that strategy. But in this case, we're just going to distribute. So we'll go with the typical route. So negative 7, we're going to distribute it. When I say distribute, I mean to multiply with both terms. Okay, so negative 7 times a is just negative 7a. And then negative 7 times negative 6 is going to be positive 42. All right, and that equals 98. All right, and then notice these are not like terms, so I cannot add them together, right? So I'm going to just get rid of this. Again, this is now a 2-step equation. So subtract 42, right? Cancels out, and you get negative 7a. Negative 7a is equal to 98 minus 42, which is going to be 56. And then, again, you get rid of the negative 7 by dividing by negative 7. And you get the answer of 8 equals to 56 divided by negative 7 is negative 8. All right, again here, ooh, this looks a little more complicated. I still have parentheses. This negative 4p has nothing to do with this 8, right? Because it's separated by a plus. So I'm just going to copy down everything here. 108 is equal to negative 4p. And now I'm going to distribute. So we got 8 times 3, which is going to be plus 24. And then we have 8 times 4p, which is going to be plus 32p. Okay. And notice here, I have some like terms. So I notice that I have a p here and a p here. They're on the same side. Again, if they're on opposite sides, we can't do that. But they're on the same side, which means we have to combine like terms. So I have 108 is equal to negative 4p plus 32p, give me 28p. Okay? And then we have this plus 24. All right. And now, again, it's a 2-step equation. So we're going to subtract 24 on both sides. And then we're going to get 108 minus 24, which is going to be 84, is equal to 28p. And then got to get rid of that 28 because we want p by itself. And then so p is equal to 84 divided by 28 is going to be 3. Yep, it's going to be 3. You can check that if you want, if you don't feel that I was that confident with that number. And now we got to the last two problems, guys. Good job. This is just like what we did above. So we're going to just distribute. 196 is equal to 4 times negative 6n. So it's going to be negative 24n. And this one's going to be 4 times 7, which is going to be plus 28. Now, again, two-step equation. So we're going to be like, well, we're going to just subtract 20. Notice there was no like terms or anything like that. So we're just going straight into the two-step equation. Right? And then we have 196 minus 28, which is going to be 68. All right, is equal to negative 24n. And then we're going to just divide by negative 24. Divide by negative 24. And we get n is equal to, let's see here, negative for sure. It's going to go in there 7 times. Yeah. So this is close to 25. And that's going to be 20. There's 4 quarters. So 25 goes in 100 4 times. So that's going to be close to 50. So it's going to go 6 times. 7 times. Yep, it's 7. You can check that. Oh, bad box. Let me try. Okay, I can't apparently do a box right there. That's fine. All right. Oh, and can I just say right here, okay, skip to the next one if you're not interested, but I'm actually going to show you how to use division. Okay, so, and you can decide if you, this is just another tool in your belt, like see if you want to use it or not. I know 4 goes into 196 evenly. I'm just going to, again, divide by 4, divide by 4. Those 4s turn to 1, right? 1 times anything is just whatever that anything is, right? So what am I going to get? 196 divided by 4. So 4 goes into 19 4 times with a remainder of 3. 4 goes into 36 9 times. So look at that, 49. And then we have left negative 6n plus 7. The good thing about this method is that you get much smaller numbers. And notice right here, we have like these bigger numbers. We just got rid of all that. So, and then again, two-step equation, subtract 7. Right, but these are much smaller numbers. 49 minus 7 is going to be 42, is equal to negative 6n. And then a last step, divide by negative 6. And what do you get? N is equal to negative 7. See, I told you. It's the same thing. All right, so last problem. It's a whole combination of different things here. I notice I have parentheses, so I'm going to have to distribute. So I'm going to go 148. I will say here, since we have this minus 7, you don't really want to divide by negative 3. Because that means you have to divide the 7 by negative 3. And that doesn't go in evenly. And then you have to deal with fractions. It's not a happy day. All right, unless you like fractions, in which case, yes, do that. So negative 3 times 5 is going to be negative 15. And then we're going to go negative 3 times 7n is going to be negative 21n. And then we did not do anything to this minus 7. It's not distributing because we're just subtracting it. Just go minus 7. And then I notice, ooh, common denominator, or common denominators. That is not what I meant. We have like terms. That's what I meant. Oh my dear. Okay, so again, we're going to go to negative 148 is equal to, I like to write the variable first. So negative 21n. And this is going to be negative 15 minus 7. So we're getting more negative. I mean minus 22. Then we're going to add 22 to both sides. And we're going to get negative 148 plus 22 is going to be negative 126 is equal to negative 21n. And then we're going to divide by negative 21. Divide by negative 21. And n is equal to, that's going to be positive because negative divided by negative is positive. And that's going to go in 5 6 times. Right, there we go. And now we're done. Please review all the things that you need to do. And then I would make sure I would just keep on practicing. That's how you get better. You're practicing and doing it, trying to do it by yourself. And have a good one, guys. Bye.